So we are right back into the peak of what I would describe as cancel culture. And this time it's on the issue of Israel and Palestine. People who make pro-Palestine comments are absolutely getting the hammer dropped on them. So here's a good example here. This is in The Hollywood Reporter. Melissa Barrera, who, by the way, I didn't know who she was until reading this story, dropped from the Scream 7 movie after social media posts amid Israel-Hamas war. She led both 2022's Scream and the 6th installment released earlier this year. So this is her. Here's what they say. Melissa Barrera is no longer starring in Scream 7. The actor was dropped from the project after a series of social media posts in the wake of the Israel-Hamas war. Gaza is currently being treated like a concentration camp, she wrote in one post on Instagram stories. Cornering everyone together with nowhere to go, no electricity, no water. People have learned nothing from our histories. And just like our histories, people are still silently watching it all happen. This is genocide and ethnic cleansing. A spokesperson for Spyglass, the company behind the Scream franchise, issued a statement after the initial publication of this article. Quote, Spyglass' stance is unequivocally clear. We have zero tolerance for anti-Semitism or the incitement of hate in any form, including false references to genocide, ethnic cleansing, Holocaust distortion, or anything that flagrantly crosses the line into hate speech. So that, what I just read here is absurd. They're trying to say that her comment was anti-Semitic or incitement of hate. Look, even if people disagree with using the word genocide in this instance, you have to admit, it's certainly a debatable thing to bring up. You don't have to agree. Hey, it's a genocide, or it's not a genocide. You don't have to agree. But the fact of the matter is, when you have anywhere between a 74% and 94% rate of killing innocent civilians, over 7,000 children have been killed within the span of a month. Over 15,000 civilians, according to Euromed Monitor. You've destroyed, certainly all of North Gaza is gone. Over 50% of the buildings in Gaza are obliterated. People are told to evacuate to the south of Gaza, then they're bombed in the south of Gaza. You're bombing hospitals, you're bombing residential buildings, you're bombing mosques and churches, you're bombing UN schools. Certainly, it is at least debatable to bring up the word genocide. Even if you disagree, we can water it down to ethnic cleansing. And even if you disagree with that one, because all these terms are very charged, I admit, at the bare minimum, it is a stone cold fact that Israel is killing colossal numbers of civilians every single day. And they're either doing it on purpose or they don't care. They don't care. Hey, if I got to kill 10 civilians to get to one Hamas guy, I'm going to pull the trigger. At some point, you just get to an objective description of what is, and you take all the emotionally charged language out of it, and it's just correct to say these things. Now, she's of the opinion this is a genocide, and she says it. Is that spreading anti-Semitism? The idea that these people act like it's not debatable whether or not to use the term genocide or ethnic cleansing is disgusting to me. Like, the people who are... there are genocide scholars who are saying, oh, this is definitely genocide. Genocide scholars. So this random company, movie company or whatever, thinks they know better than genocide scholars? Jesus Christ. The Hollywood Reporter has reached out to a representative for Barrera, who has made dozens of posts about the war since Hamas invaded Israel on October 7th. Barrera helped revitalize the franchise with Scream, the 2022 feature that earned $137.7 million globally, and combined generations of cast members from the franchise. Barrera's Sam Carpenter was the lead of that film, and the oldest sister of Jenna Ortega's Tara. Barrera also starred in Scream 6, which was released in March and topped $168.9 million at the global box office. And then it goes on to talk a little bit more about the film. But then you also have, they go on to explain, earlier on Tuesday, news broke that actor Susan Sarandon had been dropped by her talent agency, UTA, following comments at a pro-Palestinian rally in New York City on November 17th. So Susan Sarandon as well, and by the way, Susan Sarandon has been a political activist for a long time now. And she's usually right, by the way, with her stances. But she comes out and says something that's pro-Palestine, and she also immediately gets smeared as anti-Semitic. And then she says, I'm 100% against anti-Semitism, and I'm 100% against Islamophobia. And apparently UTA goes, nope, not enough. You're done. You're axed. You're out of here. I mean, this is, people are losing their jobs as a direct result of saying something mild, right? Like something mildly pro-Palestine. And they're getting fired. I mean, it's crazy. So now you're not even allowed to give an opinion and speak up about how you're against the death and destruction. You're not allowed to call it a genocide or an ethnic cleansing. It's like they're trying to stifle dissent. It's basically like, hey, shut up and just go along with what's happening. Shut up and accept it. But look, personally, I think these people are brave and they're heroes. And it sucks that, you know, this is what sucks about being in the official world, right? Where it's like you have bosses and you got companies and everybody's walking on eggshells and everybody's trying not to like say anything controversial and spark a backlash. It's like your livelihood is in the hands of, you know, some schmuck who you don't agree with at all, right? And that's a terrible, terrible situation. It really does feel like a new wave of McCarthyism. You know what I mean? A brand new wave of McCarthyism. It's like, shut up, don't say anything pro-Palestine. Man, it's been... And guys, we talked about the other day, Elon Musk banned From the River to the Sea on Twitter. And then, what was the other one? He did one other as well. Decolonization. It was decolonization and From the River to the Sea he banned. So he says decolonization is violent by definition, and From the River to the Sea is violent by definition. Those things are not at all violent by definition. I'll grant you that when Hamas says From the River to the Sea, they mean expel all the Jews or kill all the Jews. But there's many people who say From the River to the Sea, Palestine will be free, and they mean, I want one secular democratic nation where Israelis and Palestinians, Jews and Muslims live in peace. You can't just assert that it's genocidal if somebody says it and they don't mean it genocidally. You can't do that. Decolonization. Look, colonization is almost, by definition, much more brutal and barbaric and aggressive. Decolonization, yes, it can take violent resistance forms, but it could also take forms of nonviolent, peaceful resistance towards decolonization. That's a thing. But no, I'm going to ban decolonization and I'm going to ban From the River to the Sea. I mean, look, it is absolutely 100% without a doubt a new wave of McCarthyism. And we're just getting started. We've already seen a number of people lose jobs or be shunned as a result of saying reasonable things on this conflict. And I think it's only going to get worse. I think it's only going to get worse. As the death toll piles up more and more and more, you would think that would sway public opinion towards being more sympathetic to Palestinians. And in a way it does among public opinion. But among institutional power structures and businesses and, you know, you have executives not wanting to step on anybody's toes or say anything controversial. In those instances, you're not allowed to speak up on a political issue. You know, that crosses the line. It's overboard. It's too far. It's unacceptable. And this, you know, you're saying something that doesn't reflect on what I believe and what this company believes. And so they axe you. And this is one of those issues where it appears like there's zero room for dissent. And that's unacceptable. But listen, solidarity with all these people. And, I mean, Susan Sarandon will be okay for sure. And probably this other woman will as well. But it just sucks that she's the face of a franchise, and now it's like, well, that's over because you have a conscience. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.